Well, if you're going after money, that's the main reason people actually create a business plan. You'll never get a loan from a bank, you'll never get an investor, you'll never get a venture capitalist. You may even have trouble getting your family and friends to invest. You actually need it for getting money. But that's not the only one. It's actually a roadmap to the direction your business is going to take over the next 5 years, 10 years, if you want to go that far. Now, a lot of times I've seen people writing a business plan, and as they're writing it, their whole direction for their company will change. The focus that they thought they had would be shown in the business plan to be the wrong direction. Or maybe they have found by doing the research for the business plan that some of the things they thought they were taken for granted are not really the right way to go. So a business plan is really a good thing for you to decide for or against a new company. And it's as simple as that. You go ahead with it, or you take the time that you've put into writing this business plan and say, well, I found out that it's not going to work. And trust me, I've seen a bunch of those. It also gives you a new direction if you run across through your research that sales will not work at this level, or doing it this way is not going to work. I had a client who wrote a business plan for opening a store selling household products like kitchenware. And in the business plan, well, in her reality, she wanted to set up the store and run it as a retail operation, even though she was importing it into the country. What we came up with through the analysis in the business plan was, by cutting out the store, she quadrupled her earnings because she didn't have to have the store. Since she was importing it, she could go direct to major retailers and make more money that way. So that was something that came out of the business plan analysis. You really need a business plan when you're planning to deal with trends, because business plans are more than just spreadsheets. They're an analysis of trends of the industry as it is, and it's an indicator for what you need to look for. It's also a business plan is a method for planning ahead so you can avoid missteps. You really don't want to start up a company with several thousand or several $100,000 only to find out that if you'd planned it differently in the beginning, you would have been successful. And hindsight may be good for some people, but it's not going to help you when you're faced with closing a business that was poorly set up. A business plan will also give you core principles. It'll identify your core principles. It'll identify your vision statement. It'll make you look at what your mission is going to be. The mission is how you run your company in an ethical way. You can develop an exit strategy in your business plan so that you'll know how to get out of your company once you've made your fortune and you're tired of it. It makes you review everything to do with setting up your company. It makes you look at your marketing strategies. It makes you look at your finance in a different way. It makes you look at a startup budget and how much money you actually need to set up your company. There's a whole pile of things that it makes you review. It'll look at a SWOT analysis, like what are your strengths and weaknesses, and what are the opportunities that you're facing starting your new company. Now, it'll also tell you when you need milestones. Now, everybody needs milestones or goals, and if you write a nice business plan that's full of all the content that you need, you can go back to that every week, every month, every year, and see where you're going and see if you've reached the milestones that you said you were going to. As soon as you put it down in paper, it becomes a real project, a real item. In fact, when I help clients write business plans, I say there's 3 things you can do with it. Once you've finished it, you can throw it in the garbage. You can use it to make money, or you can use it to look at as a growing entity that you can go over and see where where and how you're doing over the next little while. One of the last things, which is kind of surprising, is it'll allow you to search out talent once your business is off the ground. If you can convince someone to come on as a senior executive, they're going to want to know more about your company than a little interview is going to do. So they may ask to see your business plan. That's just a few of the things that will give you a reason for having a business plan. There's certain things you have to consider when you're writing a business plan. There's several ways of going about writing it. Typically, people write it themselves. Why not? You're the one that knows the company better than anyone. But there are things out there that will make things a lot easier for you. Every bank that I deal with have got business plan templates on their websites. And they're really cool because what you do is you can fill them out on their website, save it to their servers, and they'll give you little boxes where you can, it'll say, in this place you should put your vision statement, and this is what you should say in a vision statement. Once you've written this down, please delete these instructions. So it's kind of like walks you through the whole process of setting up a business plan. A really good program that I've used for years is called Business Plan Pro, and it's by Palo Alto in the States. It's a really good resource. We'll have it on our resource page. And what it does, it gives you 350 templates for setting up a business plan specific to your company. Now you can go with the specific for your company. I prefer to use a generic one because I can manipulate it a little better. But that's the way to go if you want to spend a few bucks and do it the right way. These people know what they're doing and it's worth the money. The other way is to hire a pro. Now you want to talk to professionals about this and get a management consultant or a certified management accountant or someone like that to help you write a business plan. There's lots of people out there to help you. The cost, bearing in mind the cost is going to be $5,000 to $15,000. That's sort of what I charge to put a business plan together. A little more, a little less, depending on the amount of work involved. But remember, there's a marketing plan attached to that, there's financials, there's all kinds of stuff. Just remember that a business plan is a document for you. It's not for anybody. Primarily it's for you. And avoid winging it. I've seen so many people just sit down and over the course of 2 or 3 hours and a couple of drinks have written out a business plan. Was it truthful? Probably not. My first business plan, I was asked to write a business plan for a new company on a Monday, and I was given 50% share in the company if I could get it together really fast. So in 2 days I wrote a business plan that was 50 pages long. 2 days later we had $250,000 in the bank. A year later we went out of business. Why? Because I didn't know the market. It was my first business plan. I wasn't truthful. I over-exaggerated, and I can name a whole bunch of more things that failed. It's just that you have to be truthful and avoid winging it and get the appropriate help. Your business plan, you need to think out your plan before you start writing it. A typical template could be used, but you're still going to have the thought process done in your head. The first thing you need to do is determine your objectives. What do you really want to accomplish with your company in 3 to 5 years? And this doesn't just mean, yeah, I want to make $1 million in the first year. This is about what are your strategies and your objectives based on those strategies that are going to be a milestone, be an observable milestone in 3 to 5 years. So what you need to do is create a goal/objective checklist. And what you want to do is look at some of the things that are going to give you those answers. The questions to ask yourself, for instance, would be, do I spend my own money? Well, I wouldn't say that, but the question would be, do I want to spend my own money, or do I want to use OPM, other people's money? Do you want to address revenues in your checklist? What are your objectives really? I had a client who was a daycare operator, and part of her objectives was that she was going to make $1 million in her first year. Well, that's hardly realistic for a daycare with 12 kids at $900 a month. One of the objectives that you want to talk about is, how much of a market share do you want? Now, you got to be realistic about this, but can you address a market share analysis in this situation? Maybe the competition isn't that great in your business field. Now, one of the things you have to think about is how determined you are. Do you really want to make this work? So that's one of your goals too. Are you going to put down that you're going to work 40 hours a week? Well, most entrepreneurs I know probably work 60 to 80 hours a week until they get their company running smooth. What about your objectives for employees? Are you going to do this yourself, or are you going to have employees helping you? You're going to be the technician the rest of your life, or are you going to have people working under you? That's a consideration you have to come up with. And one of the things you have to figure out is, how do you plan for growth? A lot of people plan for failure, and they now analyze their business based on what happens if. Well, what happens if your business grows straight up? You have to have a plan for that. So those are some of the things you have to think about when you're putting this together. Your financing goals are a really important part of your business plan and the strategies going forward with your company. There's a lot of things a startup needs. We need to come up with a budget for a startup budget, like 6 months of setting up your company before you go public with it. We need to come up with budgets for your first year of operation, maybe your second year if you want to get some financing. Now, where do you get it? Where do you get the money? Do you go through other people's money? Do you go to investors? Those sort of things. How much money do you need? A lot of people underestimate how much money it's going to cost to set up a company. For instance, what does it cost to set up a bookkeeping company? Well, let's see, a piece of paper and a pen. How about a computer? How about an office? Setting up a restaurant, on the other hand, I'd say $250,000 is probably a good place to start for a restaurant type operation. You're going to need money for employees for 6 months. You're going to need money for rent for 6 months, just to make sure that you're covered while your business is growing. Now, every time you go looking for financing, you're going to have to give up something of your company for the money you're going to get. If you checked at the Dragon's Den or the Shark Tank, you're going to see that you're going to have to give a portion of your company away to people who invest in your business, unless it's a loan. But we're talking here about people actually investing in your business. So be prepared in your mind and don't be greedy, because if you're going to find an investor, it's probably because, well, you're going to select the right investor based on what they can give you besides just the cash. And what will the money that you're seeking cost you? Like if you're looking for a loan through a bank, how much is the interest going to cost, and how long are you going to be faced with paying those payments? So those are just some of the financing goals that you have to come up with. A lot of people ask me, well, how long does a business plan have to be? Well, there's no set amount of size for a business plan. you have to have all the stuff in it that makes the business work. So just remember, you're not writing a thesis here. You're writing a plan that's going to give you goals and direction for the next year, 2 years, 5 years. So the idea is keep it very simple and make sure you have all the fundamentals in it. If it takes you 10 pages to explain your marketing strategies, then so be it. It's all about getting the information that you need to put this together. You have to make sure that the business plan is long enough to have a solid analysis of the features you need in a real business plan. You need to have an analysis done of your competition, your marketing, and all that stuff. So sometimes it takes longer than a page to get all this down. One of the things I stress continuously is don't put any BS in your business plan. People think, well, it's only 15 pages, I should add a bunch of stuff in there to make it longer. Well, you're not writing a book, you don't need extra prose, so stay with something that's simple and short. And use charts, use things that are interesting. You can have an appendix at the back. At that stage you can put everything from a resume to pie charts to all kinds of stuff. But jazz it up a little bit. And again, don't go overwhelming with things that aren't going to add to the content. Now I've got a client who's a CA, and she specialized in working with clients from overseas. She had a business plan done under my direction, and I was totally amazed when she brought it into me. A typical business plan is around 25-30 pages. You add a bunch of appendices to that, and it might be another 15-20 pages long. In her case, her whole business plan was 8 pages. Probably one of the most concise business plans I've ever read. And of course her financials were accurate and right on, but she did the whole thing in under 8 pages. Unbelievable. But got her a focus, it gave her direction, and it did everything it's supposed to. Thanks.